In Attack of the Clones, following Obi-Wan's capture by the Separatists, he is visited by Count Dooku, the master of his former master, Qui-Gon Jinn. Dooku tells Obi-Wan of the dangers the Republic and the Jedi Order are in store for. He tells him the war is already lost and there is a mysterious Sith Lord residing over the Republic. The Count then offers the Jedi a hand of friendship and brotherhood, asking him to join him to overthrow this mysterious Sith Lord and bring peace throughout the galaxy. In this moment of truth for the Count, Obi-Wan denies his cry for help, shaming him for abandoning the Jedi and becoming far less than before. But what if this had not happened? What if in that moment, Obi-Wan's eyes were open to the scheme of the Sith, and he joined Dooku, forming a secret alliance and new relationship, master and apprentice, with the goal of overthrowing both Jedi and the mysterious Sith Lord? Welcome to Star Wars Explained, where we take one part of the Star Wars universe and change it to explore the consequences. Today, we will be looking at the effects if Obi-Wan were to join Dooku on Geonosis, after Dooku extended a hand of friendship and wished to take Obi-Wan as his apprentice to use him to conquer the galaxy. Dooku would free Obi-Wan from his restraints, telling him he was to maintain the facade of a Jedi Knight, as keeping him as an insider within the Jedi Order would be extremely valuable. Dooku would reveal the mysterious Sith Lord was in fact Palpatine, and now with Obi-Wan's position as a Jedi within the Republic, and Dooku's role as Palpatine's apprentice, the two could watch and study Palpatine's every move from both sides of the coin. Dooku would explain that Palpatine was far more powerful than he was yet to comprehend, but if they joined together, they may be able to defeat him one day. Dooku would then lead Obi-Wan to the arena, where he would ask him to play the role of prisoner and take place in a battle within the arena, but Dooku would assure him no harm would come to him. The events of the arena battle would be largely the same, with the exception that Dooku would order Jango to kill any beast that looked to overtake and potentially kill Obi-Wan. Later, Obi-Wan and Anakin would both chase Dooku as in regular continuity, and the duel would be largely the same as well. Once the Clone Wars began, Obi-Wan and Anakin would venture back to the Jedi Temple, and for several days, Obi-Wan would hear no word from his new master. However, Dooku would eventually reach out to him via a secret hologram projector Obi-Wan would mysteriously find underneath his chamber door. Dooku would tell Obi-Wan his master had not suspected a thing, and he would prompt Obi-Wan to look through the Jedi archives, looking for knowledge of the dark side and even prompting him to delve into the forbidden texts and holocrons. Obi-Wan would listen, exploring the many mysteries the Jedi Temple held, including hidden Sith holocrons and dark side texts. The true lure of the darkness would begin to seep into the soul of Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan would also be frequently called away from the temple to assist in the Clone Wars, showcasing some of his newfound abilities when his comrades had their backs turned. Dooku, on the other hand, would be following his master's orders, managing the war in his stead, and organizing the Confederacy for any foreseeable battles. Dooku would caution Obi-Wan about the dark side, revealing to him certain methods he discovered that allowed Palpatine to remain hidden from the Jedi for so long, and implore that Obi-Wan use similar methods and limit his studies of the dark side as to not expose himself. Dooku would also be learning from Sidious himself, analyzing his every move and attempting to identify patterns in the Dark Lord's behavior. The Clone Wars would advance largely the same, but Dooku would have to continually caution the now hate-filled Obi-Wan to restrain himself, as his role as a Jedi may be crucial to their rise. Eventually, as in regular continuity, Grievous would capture Palpatine, bringing him to his ship. At this time, Dooku would tell his apprentice the moment of their triumph was near. As planned, Obi-Wan and Anakin would be sent to retrieve the Chancellor, eventually making it onto Grievous's ship and locating Palpatine. Out of the blast doors, Dooku would exit. Anakin and both Obi-Wan would activate their weapons, Anakin ready to combat the Sith, and Obi-Wan awaiting the orders of his master. The duel would then begin, with Anakin pressing an impressive and brutal assault on Dooku. Dooku, however, would be able to maintain. Dooku would make it appear as if he was attempting to kill Obi-Wan, as to not tip off either Anakin or Palpatine, only narrowly missing him with his sequences with his lightsaber. Eventually, Anakin and Dooku would commence a blade lock, where Obi-Wan could see notable strain on Dooku's face. Sensing his master's imminent defeat, Obi-Wan would plunge his lightsaber into the back of Anakin. As he did so, Obi-Wan would make eye contact with the shocked face of Palpatine as Anakin's body slumped to the floor. As Obi-Wan rose, his eyes now flaring with the fire of the dark side, Dooku would slowly walk towards his still restrained master, Palpatine. "My apprentice has strayed from the desired path, my master," Dooku would comment. "He was only to reveal himself following the rise of your empire. Only after the Sith had the galaxy would we have struck you down. Unfortunately for you, my master, the plan must now be fast-tracked." Dooku would slowly raise his crimson blade before his face. "You have done the Sith a great service, master. Now you must die." Dooku would pull his blade back in a stabbing motion when suddenly, the room would begin to shake. Dooku, momentarily stunned, would catch onto the treachery, catching the movement of Palpatine's hand just in time to catch an enormous torrent of force lightning with his lightsaber. The power would be so significant, Dooku would fall to one knee, bowing his head, his blade still raised before him, the force lightning arcing intensely from the fingers of Palpatine. Then suddenly, it would all stop. Dooku would raise his head just in time to see the body of Palpatine slunk over in his chair, with the blue blade of Obi-Wan Kenobi extending out of the former Dark Lord's chest. Dooku's face would slowly be covered with a long, sinister smile, as he could no longer hold the joy of his victory within him, filling the room with chilling laughter. Dooku would stand to be met with the cold, expressionless face of Obi-Wan. "You were nearly defeated twice, my master," Obi-Wan would comment, still intensely looking at Dooku. "I have trained you well, my apprentice," Dooku would say. "Perhaps too well," Obi-Wan would comment. "Be careful," Dooku would exclaim, his smile now disappearing, almost as if it had never been there to begin with. "Your time will come," Dooku would say, "but now, the Jedi still remain, and we need each other." Obi-Wan would nod. "Yes, master," he would respond. Dooku would then pull out a comm, informing Grievous he was to evacuate the ship. Dooku would turn to Obi-Wan, gesturing for him to follow. "What is our plan of attack?" Obi-Wan would ask. "We are going to the planet of Kamino," Dooku would say. "I believe you have been there before, my apprentice." "Kamino?" Obi-Wan would ask, puzzled. "Yes," Dooku would again respond. "I have some important information I need to discuss with the Kaminoans regarding the clone troopers." So that is it for part 1. Be sure to stay tuned because very soon we will be doing part 2 and the story will be complete. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this little cliffhanger wasn't too hard to take, and I hope you enjoyed the first part of the story. I also want to thank all of you for your amazing what if ideas, and if you have any you would like to see in the future, be sure to leave them in the comments or tweet them at me at StupendousWave on Twitter. As always, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.